Welcome to the Be Unstoppable in the Zone podcast. I love helping people see their true, incredible human potential and ultimately then being aligned with their purpose. I run events that show people without a shadow of a doubt just how incredible they are. I also run training courses in companies and I coach on a one-to-one basis. These podcasts are here for you to ignite hope, passion and purpose within you. Each person being interviewed has been carefully selected that they're willing to take off the mask and let us go on a journey of understanding what's happened for them when they've been stopped and how did they get back into being unstoppable. So I hope you enjoy each and every podcast. Please like and share. And if you have any requests, let me know. But for now, please enjoy this interview. So welcome everybody to our very first Be Unstoppable in the Zone podcast. And I am beside myself. In fact, Stevie Ward and I have just been chatting before beginning and I nearly got so engrossed in the conversation with him that I nearly didn't press record. But let me just give you Stevie's full introduction. So, lovely Stevie is blushing. If you could see him now, he's blushing. Ex-professional rugby league player, captain of Leeds Rhinos. Stevie is a former professional rugby player and part of the golden generation at the Leeds Rhinos, one of the most successful teams in Super League history. I'm getting goosebumps already. In fact, I'm almost wanting to cry. Anyway, I'll continue. Stevie became the youngest grand final winner ever, winning 3 grand finals, 2 Challenge Cups, and was named captain at just 26. Amongst the highs, Stevie endured 10 operations, several mental health struggles, and had to retire from a brain injury at the age of 27. Stevie launched Mentality in 2016, inspiring conversation around mental health for men. Mentality now offers counselling and life coaching services and engages people through a stigma-breaking podcast. We'll put the link to that in this podcast. Throughout all the winning and losing in life, Stevie believes that the truest form of resilience is to realise the potential of our true selves. Stevie put this to the test by leading culture meetings as a captain of the Leeds Rhinos team in rugby league, one of the most toughest sports there is. Stevie believes that authenticity is the only thing that aligns success with fulfillment, and we all crave it. I love that sentence. Stevie, how old are you now?
29 now.
29. Welcome. Welcome.
Been around a bit, haven't I?
Hey?
I've been around a bit. I must have done this before. I feel old. I feel 59. Do you know?
Yeah, you have lived an incredible life already. And to me, it makes me feel like you're an old soul, that you're here, that all of your experience, I don't know whether you feel like this now or yet, but your whole experience is so profound that there's got to be a much higher purpose in it. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can remember thinking that when I just kept getting injury after injury after injury playing, but also being up there in terms of caliber of players still coming back. You know, it was like I had it all, but I didn't constantly. Do you know what I mean? It was like that.
Tell me about that. I had it all, but I didn't. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I had the ability, I had the work ethic, the discipline, the application, the drive, the talent, the creativity, and at moments this would be allowed to flourish and it'd come through and it'd just take over and I'd be in my element. But interspersed with that, with major successes in winning trophies and playing a game beyond my expectations, let alone anyone else's, would come big injuries. and then operations, which I'm starting to learn that leaves a lot of trauma, and then long stints of rehab on your own, isolated and out of the team. And then when you get back playing, you're still in pain, you can't put the size on, you can't be that player. So it was like I had it all, but yeah, I didn't at the same time, on and off quite a bit. And I sometimes think about when I played as a young athlete, as a young kid. I knew what to do. My body knew what to do. I had this intelligence that just didn't need a coach to tell me what to do. It was just like my body would do it itself. And if anything, I needed to step out of the way to allow it to happen. And I say I is in this version of ourselves that we all have, which is narrating and saying what's right, what's wrong, what the expectations are for how life should go, and the conditions for what we will allow to make us happy. Whether that's 3 trophies in a year, or whether that's a summer holiday. Those sort of things that we put on to life, when in reality, like, should be learning to let it flow in a way.
I absolutely do. I mean, that is so wonderfully put, because in the zone really means unconscious flow in our best. And that's exactly what you've just described, and why I wanted to call this Be in the Zone. And that, what great lessons you've said already in that opening paragraph. How you had an innate intuition, your body knew what to do. It's cellular memory from what you'd watched, what you'd practiced, could intuit itself, providing you didn't overthink it. As long as you showed up with the discipline and the focus and the intention to win. So how much do you think our mind can either get in the way or align the way?
I think more often than not it can get in the way, to be honest. I think we're always in a way like relying on some sort of pattern. That's when we build habits, or some sort of like flow to what we're doing, some sort of like ingrained habit, or some sort of creative flow that's almost just doing it on the run. I think that's for me is we can put a lot down to the mind, and we call it mental health, we call it mental toughness. But I've started to think recently, I'm like, mental toughness, is that just the amount in which you're not listening to your body anymore? Like, mental toughness is like not listening to your body, not listening to pain, not listening to how you feel, not listening to your emotions, so you can do the job, which is fine. That's great. And I made a lot of my career off it. But also, if I wanted to be mentally tough now, there's an element that will help me to get on with life, but also I feel there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked out, and I need to be kind to my body as well after battering it for so long. So yeah, I think in elite performance, you think you have the illusion that you sat in the change rooms worrying, being anxious, thinking, speaking to yourself, and analysing is the thing that allows you to go out and do something that you could never have even expected on the field. That's how I like to see it, and we do that in life. But there's not enough, I don't think, this trust and reliance on yourself beneath it all. I think we grow up and we start using our mind intellectually, and we start thinking a lot, monitoring a lot, and we think that that's the thing that will give us control. Whereas I feel like it's fear. I think a lot of that's fear. I think a lot of it is fear, and probably from how our body feels, probably from how our nervous system feels. So if we feel safe and secure, then we're probably not going to have much analysing, predicting, worried thought. We're going to be in the moment, and we're going to be caring about people. We're going to speak in, our ear canals are going to be open, facial expressions happening, and we're not thinking so much about the future. But when you're in fight or flight, that's dictating the story that you're telling yourself, you know. And it's almost like there's different versions of reality that you can live in just by the state that your body's in, your nervous system's in. So yeah, very, very. I don't know. I can't even remember what you asked, but I'm just.
But I don't care. What I just loved about what you said, that is so precious to the moment, and you're absolutely right. As you said it, I was putting myself in different scenarios, and when you said, when we feel safe and secure, we experience the now very differently. We're in it, actually, aren't we? And so, what are the?
I feel like that now. I feel like the worries that I have, and the thoughts about the future, about, I don't know, about packing for my holiday, about like, am I ever gonna get better with these headaches? I'm not concerned about that now, because I'm having a conversation with you and feeling good and feeling in a good place and safe. I'm feeling safe, which is something we don't speak about enough, and especially big old tough rugby players don't speak about it.
Dave, I have to say, it's really funny. Years ago, I was in a coaching session, and I was meeting my new coach for the first time. And she said, "Where do you live?" And I described where I live. And when we sat down, we were making a coffee as we were chatting, you know, that kind of conversation that you don't think is accounting to anything.
Mm.
And she sat down and said, "You know, you mentioned safe 5 times."
Wow.
And I needed that reflection putting up to me, for me to acknowledge how important safety is, and what is safety. Because a lot of people might think that safety is not being attacked.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for me, it was a place where my whole, like you say, my whole nervous system could go. And it's a feeling that I think that the unconscious mind recognizes this environment. I'm not going to be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, or our version of it in our world that we live in today. But it's emotional safety as well, isn't it, Stevie? It's that emotional safety. And I wonder how much emotional safety comes into something else that you've said. I hope I can keep track of all the gems that you're saying, is that self-trust. When we trust ourselves and we're in our flow and we're not getting in our way, how much is the safety that we crave in life actually dependent on that self-trust? What do you think?
Everything comes down to us keeping us safe. I think the nervous system, that's like the main thing. It's like the first point of call, like, really, for us, that's going on beneath our thoughts and feelings about whatever it is. Our nervous system's already doing it. It's already creating, or it's already feeling into the situation. When we walk into a different room, the first thing we look at is like, who are the kind of people here? What's going on? Am I going to be laughed at? Am I going to be on show? You're all everything we do is around that. And then you're looking for connection. You're looking for, who can I speak to here? You know, we've all been to networking things, and you're looking around and you're like, who the hell do I know here to even just start getting into a conversation? So basically, you can feel safe. And
It goes back to, though, doesn't it? Do you think when we're kids, our parents would say, don't talk to strangers? Then you go networking, and our business world, our life depends on us making connections with strangers, then we go into a networking room and our mind must go back to our map of the world and when have I experienced this before? And it's usually school. It's usually like walking into school playground, and our mind is constantly checking, exactly as you've said, who looks familiar, who looks safe to speak to, and who looks dangerous. But we can only go from our
Our own, yeah, our own internal mapping, as you said. And
yeah.
coming back to that with the self-trust, like, in what state are you going to trust yourself? Like, what place are you going to be able to trust yourself? And for me, that probably is, it's either being really boundaried and choosing authenticity and standing in authenticity over attachment. So choosing your self beneath all of everything else, all thoughts and worries that we have, choosing yourself and your ability, and having almost a strong, healthy disrespect for what other people try to put onto you, and for what other people say you should be, or what you can do, what you can and can't do. Like, you have to have almost like, it's like this force field you have to have, right? And that takes practice. And also the easiest thing to go into is probably feeling safety. So feeling that context, so you understand the context, feeling that connection, you've got that connection. It might be a connection to yourself, it might be a connection to your partner, to your friend, it might be a connection to music, something that you love. And choice, like, have you got choice to be there? Have you got, can you get out there if you need to? So these three things build up to say, am I going to go and have a crack now? Like, am I in a place where I can take a risk? Which is pretty much coming from trust, in it. I trust myself to take this risk. I trust that I'm okay if this goes wrong, which is, I guess, what the foundation to be able to take a risk, really. If we're thinking about it, and I think about playing in the rugby teams, and this is why the authenticity game plans come to my mind, because in many video reviews, after performances, we might have won the game, but we might be looking at a clip of one of my old teammates, Adam Cuthbertson, who was this Australian fella, and he was a prop forward, but he wasn't a head down, arse up prop forward, we call him. He was this almost creative artist in a prop forward's body. And he'd go towards the line, and he was so known for offloading. He'd just offload, and no one could get the ball from him and offload. So we'd be speaking to Rob Burrow and our halfbacks, and the likes of Joe Moon and these players that we had. Like, you'd see Adam Cuthbertson promoting the ball at the line, and the coach wouldn't say, Cuthbert, stop doing that, you're going to lose the ball. It would be, where are you all? But like, to all the players, where are you all? Because this is us. This is what we've got to do. We need to be playing in the teeth of the line. This is the way that we play. So where are you all? But this is what we're going for. And it'd be this, like, having a conviction to play this way, but also to allow the best of us to come from that moment, and to not be so mapped and thought in terms of what it has to look like, what it's supposed to look like. And that's, for me, the authenticity game plan. I've taken that framework and understanding and put it into life, really. That's what I'm delivering for life, because that's what I think what it is. And I guess it's another way of saying in the zone, and building that ability to be in the zone.
When you talk about self-trust, what is it? What is it to you? What is self-trust to you, and what's its value?
I think self-trust is an allowing. It's an allowing of yourself, allowing of yourself to unfold into what you already are. That's what I think self-trust is. Because I think we grow up, we come up in life, and we sort of naturally have that trust. We sort of naturally have that adventurous, explorative, curious nature about ourselves when we arrive on the planet. And a lot of people have different experiences from 0 to 6, and that definitely influences your life and decisions and reactions to stuff. So I think the essence of what I'm talking about is understanding that our true nature is we are all those things: curious, adaptive, resilient, and innately well. We have a regulating nervous system that allows us to be well. And it's not about coping, it's not about managing, it's about regulating and shifting how you feel and becoming more safe, and that's really important. So I think at the foundation that's who we are at true nature. But stuff happens in life where we take on trauma, we fold and we close and we adapt around other people and around our environment, and those affect who we are. You know, those are moments in our personal reality that then become our personality. And I guess the gist of what I'm saying within all this thing is there's something deeper. There's an intuition. There's a knowing. There's something deeper underneath all of those folds. If you imagine an A4 piece of paper and the moments in your life where that A4 piece of paper is folded and closed in on itself, and I call those internal defensive lines, because I remember being a young lad getting a whack around my chops and my bottom lip's coming out at 10 years old on a rugby field, and I'm wanting to cry and throw a paddy and all the rest of it. And I have a coach that says to me, look, mate, you can't cry because you're going to show your weakness to the other team. So again, you know, those 3 C's, I'm looking for context. Well, I couldn't understand at that age that he meant just for that game. I thought he meant the full game. But that means I've closed off my full regulating emotion, my full self. I've closed that off. And we go up through life, whether that's you comparing, whether that's you've been taught to feel shame about yourself, and you just fold and close in on yourself until you're this like cardboard-esque version. And for me, like, what comes with that is all these conditions and all these expectations and all these things that you think you're supposed to be. So self-trust is, in essence, I think, allowing that version of yourself to unfold. You know, that's for me what self-trust is, and that's through the beam of authenticity, and it's through the strength of disrespecting what ultimately has been put on you most of your life.
That is incredible. So let me unpick a little bit. Just that one sentence at aged 10, when the coach said, you can't cry, mate, it shows weakness to the other side, also brings up this fear of, I'll lose. I'll be letting the team down, or let me let myself down. We'll lose. I'll lose. We'll lose. And I'm guessing in rugby, you're either winning or you're losing. And therefore, and you saying, I didn't realize he meant just for that 90 minutes. And that can become a locked in belief that we never go back and check, is that true? It just becomes our fact, can't cry. But what is, just going to crying and men, what is the danger if we lock in emotion and don't release it? Because that's what tears are. In fact, tears I mean, my sister, if I've got some emotion that's arising, she'll go, "Oh no, don't cry," and then as though the crying is the world's falling apart, but actually the crying is just a release.
It's built in, it's released. We've got it all there, but we've shamed it and apologized for it and ruled it out. You know, it's like if we cry, oh, I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? What are you sorry for? What are you sorry for crying? And I did this interview yesterday, and it was from Men's Mental Health film, and it was a real top line question. And the first part of it, what are the challenges that men are facing now? And I took like, I wish I'd have took longer to give them a better answer, but I took about a minute to think about it. And they're like, you don't have to answer that. I'm like, no, I'm trying to answer it with actual thought behind it. And I wish I'd have said the biggest challenge for men that they're facing now is naturalness. It's actually naturalness. Like things are happening in the world. Things have always happened in the world. Things worse than what's happening now, by the way, has happened in the world. But we have this resistance to naturalness in our emotion and to expressing ourselves. Like, I don't know, for me, that's where it's at. But also, I understand that there is worth and there's need to, at moments, carry on, you know, and at moments, not cry because you've got to go do a job, you know. Because for me, crying on a rugby pitch probably isn't the best thing to do, you know. But when I cross the white line and when I go home and when I'm feeling emotional and I'm on my own, I'm safe, then maybe it's probably a good idea, you know. So it's like there's so many things, so many individual challenges out there, and everyone's got a different challenge. But if we're not using what's inbuilt, if we're not using sustainable well-being, if we're not using those systems that are there for us, then what are we doing? We're just making it hard for ourselves.
Yeah, Lexi having a drink of water.
Yeah, I can, yeah, only just.
Oh, so what's the danger if men don't release the tears? What will that lead to? What is that creating if they don't release the tears? Because what you've just said is, all right, maybe not now, I'll park it, but I will do it. So what's the value in releasing them and what's the danger of not?
Um, I mean, I guess the value is that you'll feel better and you'll feel connected and you'll feel like nature's taking its course. You know, I think that's probably the value. And the danger of not doing it is you feel numb, you feel on edge, you feel fear, you feel hurt inside, and then a lot of people hurt other people because they feel hurt. Um, you know that's probably the danger, and the more I'm understanding how much the body takes a role in our lives, and it's not just this thing that carries our heads to meetings or to jobs. You know, it's a thing that is there supporting us and helping us and prompting us to take care of ourselves. Um, you understand that in a way that it's storing trauma, it's storing these moments and these memories and these things that because we've got out of there and we forgot about it or we don't think about it, actually it's still there, you know. Um, and it's these moments which we've been overwhelmed and we've not been able to not cognitively knowing how to handle it. So the body just takes the energy, stores the energy. You know, it's like putting a brake on at 100 mile an hour. Not the car's not just going to stop. There's going to be energy. There's going to be noise. There's going to be cranking. There's all these things that goes on. So that energy, because we've not done anything with it and we've not expressed it, it stores in the body. And then it's about coming back to ground zero, which is sort of my mission now. You know, there's a phrase, I think someone asked the Dalai Lama what surprises him most about humanity, and he said man, because he sacrifices his health to gain wealth, but then in the end sacrifices wealth to gain back his health. I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
But you hear, I've got two questions. Let me form one before I get on to the other. You hear so many sports people and athletes hitting a massive low because when they're playing, they only ever imagine themselves playing. Is that true? First of all, is that a truth that I've just said? They don't see beyond.
Yeah, I think so. I think definitely growing up when you're young, you know, middle career, yeah, it's like you're all in. Do you know what I mean? You're all in, literally all into it. So yeah, that is true. That's it.
And that's why they hit that wall of massive depression, and often wanting to leave the world. How have you all you've ever done is play rugby and just and as you've said, to a level that you couldn't even imagine because you just got out of your own way. How have you stayed on this planet without?
It's a good question. There's probably loads of different answers to it. But I do know that I've got a really amazing partner, like so amazing, who's she has helped me see life beyond rugby, you know, like beyond rugby, and you know, she's a bit of a free spirit, and she was a contemporary dancer, and now she's an embodied psychologist, probably because she had to live with me, so she needed to be armed. But she's just helped me heal and grow. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like that's been a massive help. So before I start saying anything about me solving it all, that's one condition that's really helped. And then I'd say, like, I feel like this is probably something for successful people or people that achieve stuff. Like for me, growing up playing rugby, not trying was it was alien. It was just not an option. It was just not an option. There's never a game that I've played where I was given less than everything. Um, and I guess I do. I guess I do try and solve things. I feel like there's so much there to be solved, and having everything that's happened with my rugby career and the injuries and the brain injury and I guess all the trauma and all the operations, it tended to be like another problem that kept arising for me, which was my well-being or my um, health, or I intuitively know and knew that like I got to this position playing rugby and doing all these things, but why did it not feel, I don't know, why is it not as releasing and freeing as it should be, you know? And you know that's something with mental health struggles that I sort of pondered the question, and then going through the years of playing and understanding my values and understanding authenticity and understanding all these things, and then allowing the team to do it and providing a platform for the team to do it. it's just sort of been this problem or this adventure to have, which shines brighter than the despondent days and the days where I feel very locked up and in fear. That's probably why, and I can get to that place more often than not, to the good place. So yeah, I don't know how much that answers it, but
Oh, a lot, a lot. I mean, what I hear is the life-saving value of connection. Just somebody who can see, just somebody, I know she isn't just somebody, but someone who can hold the light until you can see your own path,
yes,
is just life-saving for us never to forget that it's not about telling somebody what to do. It's not about telling them your wisdom. It's about just holding enough light for enough time that they can gather their own tools up and crack on. It's not about picking them up off the ground physically when they fall on it. It's about them allowing them to be on the ground
mm,
and being with them on the ground, and then being there when they're ready to stand again.
yeah.
You look like you're going to say something.
No, I like it. I think it's totally right, and it's just this level of compassion which, um, I guess is just I don't know. It was more than I'd ever experienced from Natalie, my partner,
Mm.
and I'm so lucky to have had that. And I say lucky, I guess, to sort of, people say everything happens for a reason, but to be in the frame or to be in the zone to meet Natalie and to have these discussions and conversations, I'd been vulnerable and not known the answers, and launched myself into, I guess, an inquiry and also into a bout of openness. Um, and it's almost like, as I said, that unfolding. It's like those defensive lines, those creases, like when you can go back through those, it's like it becomes easier to attract that connection, and it becomes easier to like know the way forward for yourself. But just like it does before you go and play a rugby game, it takes a lot of vulnerability and um, bravery, courage to step across that line and and see what happens and do your best.
I want to finish with a question, but also I want to say that there is no doubt in every fibre of my being that you're here to make an impact. There is no doubt. You, you are here for an important purpose and mission, and you had to go through all of that, as shocking as it is, because you're not here to mess around, Stevie. I can really feel it. You're not here to mess around. You've got work to do in this lifetime, and you've got the resilience, you've got the drive, you've got the discipline, you've got the hunger. And you said to me before we started this call, I'm teaching this stuff whilst going through it. In my view, that is the most influential teacher, because we always want to make an influence, because the person that's teaching us, we want to relate to. And too often we hear rags to riches story, and we just can't relate to the riches story, but we can relate to the pain, the discomfort, the doubt, the insecurity. And that's the light, I think. So whilst going through it and teaching it, is like, look, I am vulnerable as it gets right now, and I'm still willing to show up. So I'm just so inspired. My last question is, what's your goddamn purpose? Or your God-given purpose?
My purpose, yeah, I think it's, short way of putting it, to enable people to feel brave enough and safe enough to be themselves. That's it. That's it.
Nice.
All my activity just comes from that. And I think, as we said, there's always challenges. There's all these issues out there in the world, which I think a lot of it comes from people not feeling okay. I think people feel hurt, and inevitably that it causes other people to hurt people, and the cycle continues. So, but I think if people felt brave enough and safe enough to be themselves, then I think that's solves a lot of issues for me.
And in that is, if I'm being myself, then I know that I'm good enough.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And that's a good place to land. You know, we can go and do all these things in the world. We can earn all these statuses, recognitions, earn all this money, and it's great and it's fun, you know. But where are you doing it from? You know, where are you doing it from? Are you doing it from lack and desperation, or are you doing it from wholeness and adventure? That's probably me talking to myself right now, by the way. You know.
I like that. Well, I think most of the time we are. I think most of the time our mind offers it to someone else so that we hear it.
Yes. It's a mirror, in it. We just have a mirror all the time.
Our mind is thinking, I've been trying to say this to you, but you're not hearing it. So I'm going to make sure that it actually comes out of your mouth and you hear it.
Yeah.
I feel like we have chipped at the tip of the iceberg. So if it's all right with you, we'll be doing more of this, because you are such an inspiration. Your message is essential to humanity right now at this time. And it's a big torch of hope, that we can accept ourselves as we are and just be in that divine flow, in the zone in life. I think that's the best way to sum up our chat. I cannot thank you enough, but I'll have a bloody good go.
Yeah, that's the test, though, we need to accept ourselves when everything is telling us not to, and to change ourselves and to improve ourselves. That's the test, to accept ourselves and accept what's beyond our control. I think that's the big test. But I appreciate you. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you so much. And I just want to say, with what you've just said, it goes back to something you said right at the beginning, which was about we feel that we can accept ourselves when we feel safe. And it's understanding what is safe and how can I boundary that, which is also what you said, boundary in our well-being, and safety being part of it, because it soothes the parasympathetic nervous system. And so what do I need to do? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to continue doing? What do I need to start doing that makes me feel safe? So therefore I can accept myself. I appreciate you, young man. You have lived a lifetime and you are not messing about. You've got work to do on this planet in this lifetime. And any way I can support you, you've got it, whether you want it or not, you're getting it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stevie.
I need that support, and I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on. And I'm such a fan of your work and what you're doing. You are yourself a guiding light, and there's no turning away from that for you either. So you best crack on, aren't you?
We're on a mission, aren't we? You are going to be at the event on the 26th of November. Let's not forget.
Oh.
We're going to have you intravenously in our arms, in our system, where we're going to be completely authentic, and you're going to be around for the firewalk, aren't you?
Yes, 100%. Ice baths, firewalks, rugby games, whatever, I'm there.
You're there. All right, darling, have a brilliant holiday. I'm sending you so much love.
Superstar. Take it easy, and I'll see everyone on the 26th.
Bye.